Hello and welcome to this presentation by ProTrade United on how to systemize and automate your trades business, and if you'd like a timeline on it in the next 90 days. So it's great to have you on this session this evening. Where are you dialing in from New Zealand or around Australia? Great to have you on board for the next 45 to 50 minutes. My name is John Mailer, and if this is the first time you're hearing from me, welcome. If you've been on one of these ProTrade online training sessions before, good to have you back. So the game plan for the next little while is just to chill, take some time out for yourself to work and listen on ways to improve yourself and your business as well. Take as many notes as you like, and really my goal is not to necessarily tell you things that you already know, but it's to challenge you on the way that you have been doing something. So when I do that, ask, that's interesting. How could I make that work? Let's be present. We've got about 50 odd slides, so we're going to cover a lot of territory over the next little while. So take notes that are pertinent for now, and you also will receive a recording of this session so that you can play it again or include your business partner or maybe people on your team who are going to help you get your business systemized and automated over the next little while. And I'm also going to give you an opportunity to participate and share. So it's not just a one-way conversation with me. We get an opportunity to chat. And if you've got questions along the way, that's your opportunity as well. I'll show you exactly how we're going to do this. So you've got a little control panel that usually pops up on the right-hand side of your screen, looking something like this. What I'd love to do, just to check that you are hearing me and you can see the slides, is just click the hands button, which tells me that you're saying hello. And if you can type into the chat box whereabouts you're dialing in from. Okay, whereabouts are you located in Australia or New Zealand, just so I can get a reference point of who's on the call, where you're dialing from, and if you'd also like to mention the type of trades business that you're in, whether you're a plasterer, painter, electrician, plumber, builder, landscape gardener, whatever it is that you are a master of your craft about, that would be terrific, and I can see who's on the call. So love to check in. G'day, Brody. Good to have you on the call. Daniel and Deanna both said hello as well. We've got Sandra from Wangari from Northland in New Zealand. Brody's a Sparky in Tasmania. Kyle also from Tassie, a plumber. Good to have you on board, Mark from Melbourne. We were due to be down there next week, but that sort of suddenly changed plans as well. So good to have you on the call, Mark. Daniel from Atherton in FNQ, for those of you that is far north Queensland. So good to have you guys tuning in. Keep the chats coming along. Love to see who else we've got coming on there and saying hello. We've got Tony, we've got Tom. G'day, Nick from Melbourne in the demolition game. Zach and Stuart, so we've got a few dialing in here as well. So please keep doing that. Hands up, that tells me you can see and you can hear, which is terrific. So as we keep moving forward, this session really for you guys is understanding just a little bit of a snapshot about who we are before we get in the content for you. So ProTrade United works with about 230 clients around the country. In Australia, we're based in Brisbane and Melbourne as our offices, but we support clients all over the country and in New Zealand as well. So helping them to do one of three things. Firstly, to help people stabilize and streamline their current operations to get consistency of income, profit and cash, which then gives them choices about which way they'd like to take their business. Maybe you want to grow, maybe you want to scale your business, maybe you want to increase the number of projects you do, increase the number of vans you've got on the road, employ more people, but how do you do that profitably? Or maybe you're at the stage in your journey where you want to step back, step out of the business, step off the tools, choose a role in the business which is a little less physically demanding. Or maybe you want to step out and sell we also guide and support businesses to be able to do that. And it's an exciting time to really see people get rewards for the hard work they put into their business over sometimes decades as well. And here's a snapshot of just some of the clients that we love to work with, and I'll share with you a little bit more about them as we progress as well. But this session, you're in the right space. Just check in if you want to be open to looking at your business differently. As your business is a reflection of the way that you think, that could be something that could resonate with you. If you want to understand the number one barrier that keeps you stuck where you are, if you feel like you're stagnant, you're not progressing, you keep hitting a glass ceiling, what steps you can put in place to ensure quality work gets done on site every time, regardless of whether you're on site or not, what procedures your business needs right now, if you want to secure some time off and ensure your business still performs at a top level, and how to use technology to free up time and energy. So if you're up for a little bit of this, click the hands up button. If you're after all of that, double click it as well, and that'll let me know that, again, you are in the right space. Who else have we just got dialing in as well? Got a few more joining the call, which is terrific. So let's keep moving. There's no doubt things are happening quicker and faster than ever before. I think personally it's one of the most exciting times to be alive, even given, you know, the experiences that we've had over the last 12 to nearly 18 months now. But we get to choose something around that. Yeah, we get to choose, do we evolve at the pace of change? We can either respond to it, which means we roll with it, we're in front of it, or we get caught up and swept up in it. You get to choose. Are you evolving at the same rate at what we're changing? And unfortunately for some, it's not happening. And there will be businesses that are going to be extinct. They're not shifting and changing. We're moving into a new decade. Well, I'm calling it the digital decade, where there'll be a real transformation in the way that we interact, that we work with clients. We are in a high-tech world. They still do need high touch. But again, we get to choose, and change is not necessarily easy. So what I'd love to hear from you guys is, what's hardest for you right now in your business, particularly when it comes down to systems and procedures? And we're going to talk about that as our main theme today. Where are the headaches in your business? Where does it feel clunky? I'm going to talk about later on the what pisses me off list. You know, what's causing you, you know, the 2 o'clock, wake up, can't get back to sleep, brain going at a million miles an hour. What are you getting a lot of the phone calls about each and every day, and not necessarily for the right reason as well? I want to give you 30 seconds. Please type into the comments of the chat box there, and tell me what you're experiencing, because that way I can tailor make some of this session towards you as well. So what's going on for you in your business right now? What is hardest for you? Just let me know what's going on. Is it, you know, and often a lot of the times it shows up in one of three places. Sometimes it's winning quality work at the right margins. Maybe it's cash flow, you know, managing that. And the third place challenges usually show up is with your people. Okay, hiring people. A lot of our clients at the moment have an abundance of work. There's no shortage of winning the work, but being able to deliver on it with quality and hiring people has been a challenge, particularly hiring quality people as well. So what's coming up? You know, so thanks, Stuart. Stuart's got down here an overflow of admin work, as well as getting enough quality staff. Got it. Sandra's got cash flow. You know, money coming in, money going out. The biggest issue is cash flow, again, becoming more profitable, says Daniel. Thanks, guys, for your comments here. Again, a lot of these things can be worked upon as we go. Our on-site systems, says Juanita, tracking jobs, they're running over schedule and losing profit. We'll talk a little bit later on about some profit leaks, particularly around labour productivity, guys, and how some processes and systems can help with that. Steve's got training staff and time management as well. So if you resonate with some of that or all of that, you know, keep the comments coming. Lets me know exactly what you're dealing with. And again, we can tweak some of this content today. Also, if you've got some special questions that would be like answered, nothing too specific, probably more general, that'd be great. Zach's just come in here and says, being in the in-between space of needing a project management, not enough work to hire a full-timer. Yeah, so you're there, aren't you? You're doing a bit of that and a bit of lots of other things as well. Totally get it, Zach. So as we keep moving, the question that when I started in business, I said, surely this has got to be easier than what I'm experiencing. And I was doing some work with a guy called Jim Rohn at the time. He's no longer around, but something hit me between the eyes one day and he says, you know what? Don't wish life was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for an easier journey, just wish for better skills and learn how you can become better. So that's what I'm going to challenge you guys about, is that when you signed up to be in business, you didn't sign up for an easy journey. So let's not stop whinging and moaning and complaining about it. Yeah, that's not what we're about at ProTrade. We're about acknowledging the reality. Yep, I get it. It's challenging. Working with people, working with customers, dealing with cash flow, hiring, all of those things. It's not easy, but we can get better. And that's where we fit into that space at ProTrade United, is to help you become better, to be a master of your business in that space. So the first thing I want to sort of share with you is what we see is the biggest barrier to businesses progressing. Now, you're not necessarily going to like the answer, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. It's not out there. There's no miracle pill that's going to make it easier for you. Business is an inside-out job. Business is working on yourself to implement the ideas and the concepts. So I talk about the 80-20 concepts. What I'm recognizing is 20% of the ability for you to grow and evolve and adapt your business is the skills that and the tools and the templates and the processes and systems that we can support you with. 80% of it is you. Are you up for the change and the conversations and the communication? A quick example, okay, we're talking about staff, we're talking about people. I know there's people on this session that have hired or may have people in your business right now that are costing you money. They're causing headaches. They're not getting along with other people on the team. They're compromising the core values of the organization. And you continue to allow them to show up every day. Now, you know deep down inside they're not the right fit for your business. And maybe they've been that way for some period of time. And you know the best thing for them and the business is to let them go. So that's the 20%. The 80% is now showing up, having a conversation, and dealing with what's going on for you internally that's had you put that conversation off for maybe weeks, maybe even months. In some cases, it could be years. You get what I'm coming from as well. That's also where we help, is you know you've got to have the conversation. Let's help you structure the conversation and then support you through those things. So when it comes back down to fixing aspects of your business, I believe, in my experience of working with businesses now for well over 20 years, that you can shift and change and impact in a positive way any aspect of your business or your life in 90 days. If your cash flow sucks, we can turn that around in 90 days. If your people aren't engaged and not being productive, we can turn that around in 90 days. If you're not winning quality work at the right margins, we can turn that around in 90 days. Personally, we can fix, help you with the relationships, personal finances, health, okay? We can work through that, but it requires focus, and focus is about saying no to lots of other things. And so the question I have is, are you ready? And I mean really ready to create a business that can operate with you having to be there all the time? Because it is going to challenge you. You've got to look at a different approach. And if you're really ready, then you're in the right space. So the next thing I want to just quickly touch on is, what are the clear benefits of having processes and systems in place? Now, I see this each and every day when we help clients implement these, that there is a dramatic increase in income and profitability. And I'm going to talk about profit shortly, because profit may not necessarily be financial profit, but you know what I mean. Improved productivity and efficiency, less hassles, more time to do the things that matter most in your life. You have the ability to grow and scale. You get an increased business value and you have more control, not the control freak type of control, but it feels like business and life is in control. So a question I have, so when a business owner says to me, John, I want to be able to systemize my business, I'll go, so tell me, what's the main reason? What's the number one outcome that you're looking for from this? Because we want to have a look at the intention, the purpose. So see, these are some of the answers that come up. First and foremost, create more time. I've got a young family. You know, I'm out the door at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm getting home. I'm seeing them briefly over dinner. Then I'm in the office doing my admin and quoting. Tired. The weekend I'm exhausted. So I'm not getting time with the people in my life that matter most. I do want to grow my financial profit. I want to develop my team. I want to build value in my business. I've got people coming through that I want to have take on aspects of what I'm doing and help them succeed. I do want to sell my business. You know, we're working with a mechanic at the moment who's going through that process, and the benefit that he's got in selling the business is that he's got systems and processes in place to replicate a lot of the things that he's been doing. And it gives you flexibility of choice. So I want you to keep that in mind. But to make it interesting, I want to have you take on a game. Here's a game for you. Right, this is what it looks like. You book a 3-month trip away from the business. Hands up who'd love to take 3 months off from the business, go traveling with your family. Obviously not overseas, but wouldn't that be cool? Pick anywhere in Australia that you'd like to go. You're off the grid, which means that there is no contact with you. You can get once a week time with a one-on-one with someone in your business. You get to see financials or a scorecard or a schedule of work via limited internet. And you're going in 90 days. You've got 3 months to prepare. Let's go. Are you up for the game? Because that's what we can play with. Let me share with you, this is Jay and Krista. They're currently on the west coast of Australia. Jay zoomed in with one of our groups a couple of weeks back. They've got 3 young boys under the age of 10. So they're out of school, they've got the caravan, and they have 12 employees in their electrical business. They're Brisbane based, but they are currently doing a 3 to 4 month trip. Jay said, listen, if we enjoy ourselves and things are flowing, we might stay a bit longer. But when Jay and Krista started working with us, that was the dream. So we'd love to look at the way to get the business to a stage where it can run itself, limited involvement of myself, be profitable, and allow us to travel. So Jay always says, listen, if we can do it, anyone can do it. So that's the game, yeah. Now, that might not be your gig, but that's something that you can play. So what is your current approach? So what I mean by that is usually I see with business owners one of 2 things. Either they're control freaks, they want to be over everything, make sure they've got the fingers in every pie and make sure everything's done exactly the way that they want it to be done. Always looking over someone's shoulder, or it's let's chuck them in the deep end and see what they sink or swim. So if you're brave enough, maybe you can type into the chat box, which one are you? Are you a control freak? Or are you the throw them in the deep end? And there's nothing inherently wrong with either one of those approaches, by the way. I'm not here to, you know, judge or reprimand, but you just got to ask the question, does it work? You know, throw them in your deep end, see if they sink or swim, might have worked with you when you first started in a career and you landed on your feet and you did exceptionally well. But it doesn't work for most people. And the control freak just annoys the hell out of people as well. So thanks, Ben, deep end. Sandra, control freak, oh, lovely. I'm the control freak guy. You know, that's who I used to be. You know, Juanita's got control. Thank you for your honesty, guys. This is what it's all about. Now, there is an alternative. Yeah, there is an alternative. First and foremost, I want you to take ownership. And what I mean by that is 100% responsibility for everything that shows up in your business. Because when you do, you can change anything in your business. I'll say that again. When you take 100% responsibility for everything that shows up, you can change anything moving forward. So here's a quick question. When something does go inherently wrong, for want of a better word, goes pear-shaped, there's a breakdown in communication, unhappy customer, team aren't getting along, There's poor communication between what's happening on site or what's happening in the office. What tends to happen in your business? Do you tend to point the finger, blame, make excuses, justify? That's one way, but does it work? What doesn't work? Because here's a couple of questions for you. When a breakdown occurs, just like I've talked about, 2 questions. Number 1, has a system, procedure, or checklist been written for the outcome that you're looking for? Yes or no? If the answer's no, we've got to look in the mirror. Take ownership, responsibility, get something done. And you might say, oh, surely they don't need a system or a process for that. Well, I'll talk about a couple of examples shortly. Now, if the answer is yes, we've got a system, we've got a procedure. Secondly, has the above been fully communicated and the right training and practice being provided? Because I know this is sometimes what happens. You may write a procedure or a checklist. You email it out to the team. In the email, you say, this is our new system from the start of June. This is the way we're going to be doing things in this particular area. So, A, you're presuming people have received the email, opened the email, read the email, looked at the procedure, understood it in the context of how you want it to be implemented, and then gone and done exactly the same way. So there's 5 or 6 ways that could be misinterpreted, and we all see a world completely differently. So therefore, we need to have a better approach. So here are the steps that we're going to run through. Number 1, we're going to look at the plan, the people, then the processes. Then we're going to prioritize the rollout, look at your productivity around all of this, talking about practice and prepare for what ifs. Yeah, 7 simple steps. Now, big difference between simple and easy. Okay, simple steps, make it really clear, and then you've got to go to work on making it happen. And that's what we can support you with at the same time. So first and foremost, create the plan. As I said, go back to the intention. What is it that you're wanting to accomplish by all of this? If you don't have a purpose, you don't have an outcome, you don't have a clarity of what it all looks like, then you don't really know if you're on track or off track. You know, you've got to communicate with the team the intention around this. Who on the team is going to be involved? What sort of time frames? I've just given you one, 90 days. And then you've got to go through the process of implementation as well. So first and foremost, before you start anywhere, just think about it. What's our outcome and the intention? Who on the team is going to be involved? What sort of time frames? You guys are project management gurus, okay? You guys know how to work backwards from a timeline, a deadline, whatever word you want to use. You know how to execute to fulfill on a construction or a project job. This is no different. We've just got a different outcome, and then the how takes place. Secondly, so once we've got our plan, we want to engage your team, because this isn't a one-man show. This isn't you doing it all on your own. This is about you getting the team engaged to help you. How do you do that? Well, first and foremost, you've got to paint the picture. You've got to tell them the journey. You've almost got to sell them on what this is going to look like and the benefit and the opportunities for all. Because if it doesn't land as an opportunity, it lands as an inconvenience. It lands as more work to do. It lands as a hassle. So it's about you sharing with them the benefits of working through procedures and checklists to help them win in their role. I also recommend that you ask the people on your team that you respect for suggestions on areas that need fixing, areas that you can go to work on to create better structure, better procedures, better outcomes. I guarantee there's people on your team who are frustrated about things that keep happening a certain way that causes them grief, upset, challenges. Get them involved, yeah? You know, you're all in this together. And when you involve them in actually the writing of systems and procedures, you involve them in creating a checklist. You ask people to take an aspect of what they do on a day-to-day basis and write a step-by-step approach to something. Okay, acknowledge them. Let them know how much you appreciate their input in creating a more organized, better structured business. And, you know, if in some cases we've got some clients who are rewarding the right people for being contributors over a sort of a 3, a 6, or a 9-month time frame. Yeah, and there's different ways that you can put that together, but just something to think about. So this is one of our clients. They're based in Gympie, a refrigeration company. You can see Tony and Judy on the left-hand side. Now they're at the stage where they're wanting to step back. They live at Rainbow Beach and want to enjoy fishing and surfing. Now, the IP, the intellectual property, the how to do a lot of what is going on in the business is in Tony's head. So on the right here, we have Dom and we have Nathan and we have Kate, who are part of them, who are their kids, who are involved in the business now. So part of us working with them was extracting from Tony all of these how-tos, from talking to customers, building relationships, to putting quotes and proposals and tenders together, to the operational side of things. So their intention was to allow Judy and Tony to step back with ease and flow, and for the younger generation to take on the business. And happy to report that it's flowing so far, so good. So that's an example of thinking about the end in mind, thinking about for what purpose, and to transition that information and that knowledge and that expertise down through the generations. Yep. So that's one thing you can consider. Step number 3, we want to map out the processes. So what do you mean by that? Well, I probably am taking a guess here, but most of you at some stage would have been in the kitchen. You would have made something, and it could have been anything from a sandwich to scrambled eggs to an omelette to your favorite risotto or spaghetti bolognese, you name it. You've probably done something. So I'd like to keep it pretty simple. A process or a system is like a recipe. There's ingredients and a method. Yeah, that's all it is. It's a way that you can follow to get a, here's the key, predictable, repeatable, and teachable outcome. Repeatable, predictable, and teachable outcome. Think about that when it comes to a recipe book. That's all it's about. Now, it may not look and turn out like the photo in the book that you've got, but over time it gets better and better. It's how you want it done in your business. Just because you're employing someone. So this is a conversation I had with one of our groups last week. He said, listen, I've just employed this tech. He's got 15 years experience, but he just doesn't get how we do it our way. I said, well, have you taught him how you want it done? He said, well, 15 years of experience, surely he knows how to do what we do. I said, everybody has a different way. He's been taught. Everybody has a different way of doing a risotto. Everybody has a different way of doing an omelette. Doesn't make it wrong, but you've just got to be really clear about how you want things done in your business. And for the control freaks out there, okay, this is your opportunity to, if you teach people the way you want it to be done and then gradually allow people to take on that, you're heading in the right direction. We've got to be able to measure certain things, and we've got to know whether it's working or not, yeah? So one of the things that we talk about, particularly when it comes to mapping out a customer experience, how you can measure a customer experience. Well, you've got things like Google reviews, testimonials, client feedback, customer satisfaction. And then part of allowing you to step back from your business is working with what we call ProTrader Scorecard. The scorecard is not like a scoreboard in this essence, but it's got that component. So if you're a coach of a football team, obviously there's the scoreboard, which is telling you the actual result of what's happening on the field. So like I'm an AFL supporter. So the scoreboard will tell you goals, behinds, total overall score, and how you're comparing to the competition. But as the coach, there's also other things that I want to know. Okay, how many times have we had the ball in our possession percentage, number of times inside the forward 50, contested marks, scores from stoppages. Those types of things are telling me how my team is performing. So it's not just the profit and loss, the balance sheet, and what's going on in my bank account at the moment. We've got other ways that I can measure whether we're on track or off track as well. So a system is what needs to be done, why it needs to be done, when it needs to be done, how it needs to be done, and who needs to do it. Yeah. Now, here's an example. I'm going to gather that there's quite a few people on this session who've mixed cement before. I did a little bit at home not so long ago, putting together a little brick wall at the top of my block. Now, everybody has a different way of making cement. Now, we've got 4 different pictures here. None of them is wrong. None of them, you know, doesn't work. It's whether it doesn't work for your business. Now, Jay, who's one of our clients in Melbourne, he's got a paving company called Pave, and they do everything from, you know, your standard brick driveway to bluestone to decorative paving, and the list goes on. He has 7 different recipes for 7 different types of mortar, from a dry mix to wet mixes, depending on the type of stone they're laying, to the usage, the durability, the traffic, everything. And each of those recipes is written out just like in a recipe book. He does not, and everything that he mixes is done by almost by the cubic, you know, centimeter. He doesn't allow anybody to dangle the hose into the mixer just to guess whether it's the right consistency. He measures out almost to the milliliter the water that goes into the mix, because he wants it done a certain way. He knows what works, he knows what doesn't work. In your business, value yourself enough to say, guys, this is the way that I want it done. Until we find a better way, this is what it looks like. And go to work to write the recipe. So there's an example of how sometimes going out and mixing a cement is not just mixing cement. And the reason why is we want consistency for the customer, we want consistency for the team, and consistency for you, the business owner. Now, the big challenge with all of this is that it's boring. Writing systems and procedures for 80% of people is like eating gravel, yeah? To sit down and go, oh my goodness, I've got to work out what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, who does it, in what order. So one of the things that we do with our clients is we have systems immersion workshops where 3 times a year we get together with them face to face. And we actually take them through and provide them with templates and flow charts and job descriptions and, you know, key performance indicators for certain roles, and help them map out the processes in their business, and then the best way to go back and put them into practice. Because success in business can be boring, because success in business is doing the same thing over and over and over again, consistently creating happy customers, a team that's engaged, and over time it's just repeating that. It's wash, rinse, repeat. Yeah. So we get that it's nothing exciting, but we also provide clients with the tools on how to make it work in their business. So before we get into the core processes, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to pause for 30 seconds. Yeah. I'm going to give you a snapshot of this as some of the areas that you could go to work on creating core processes. And what I want you to do is just type into the chat box for me, A, what you found most valuable so far. Okay, what have you found beneficial for yourself in what we've chatted about? And also, maybe you have a look at the list there, and if there was an area in your business that you feel requires work on processes, checklists, and systems, what comes up for you? Yeah, going to give you 30 seconds. Type into the box. What's been valuable? Give me some feedback, guys. What's your take home so far? What are you more aware of? What has come up for you? What have you been challenged by? And which area do you feel is beneficial to go to work on? And then I'll come back and give you a bit of clarity very shortly. All right, so Daniel, focus is about saying no, 100%. And you know, with the sea of distraction we live in today, we are more likely to be drowned by opportunities than starved by not enough. And so focus is about saying no, 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 no to 100 things so you can be really amazing at one. So good pick up there. Mark Scott, hiring. You know, here's one of the things about hiring is, I don't know about you, but I never got taught how to hire. I had to wing it. I had to make it up, and I have made stacks of dud hires, really bad mistakes. And then I go, well, maybe you got to create a recipe. So I identify the duds early on. Yeah, so definitely an area that we help clients with checklists and interview questions and application forms. Steve's got, yeah, reinforcing systems and processes. Yeah, sometimes you've got them there, haven't you, Steve? Sometimes they're there, they just maybe got a bit of dirt or dust on them. They haven't been looked at for a while. Got to bring them to life. You've got to talk about them regularly in your business. Stuart's got creating step-by-step procedures, really valuable for us. Beautiful. Steve's got training as well. You know, one of the things is, yeah, don't expect everybody to understand exactly how you want things done. The more time you invest in training and helping people get better and understanding the way you want things done, the more loyal your employees will be. Brady's got to learn, you know, invoicing with materials and gear. Ben, yeah, got to get the text on the same page with the future, and processes need to be the same across the board, 100%. You know, it's our role as business owners to share the journey, where you're going, what's the next 12 or 18 months all about. Otherwise, people just show up every day without any real enthusiasm as well. Sandra's got, I've got heaps to think about where I can systemize our business. You've got to dust off the flow chart. 100%. Involve the team in writing down the process. You know, your team want to win and they want to help you. If you've got the right people employed, they want to contribute, they want to make a difference, and they want to be acknowledged for that as well. And Ben's got the bit around communication as well. Beautiful. Listen, thanks, guys. So here's some areas to consider. Core processes. If you think right at the very start of the customer journey, when they engage with your brand, okay, what is it about your brand that needs to be communicated? So is that around your social posts? Is it about updating your website? Is it about your email communication? When people inquire with you, you know, handling the inquiry, what questions do you ask? How do you qualify? How do you disqualify? How do you create the quote? How do you create the estimate? How do you present that to the customer? How do you ask for the business, deal with objections, follow up, take deposits? All of that, you've got a certain way that you like it done in your business, because you wouldn't be in business if you didn't have a certain element of that. That's got to be transferred to other people. You know, I've just been working with a roofing company this afternoon on their project management checklist, right from when the customer says yes, booking in the job into the schedule, everything that goes from that point on to the job handover at the very end. Yeah. Now we've got the main process, which is you know how we deal with the majority of jobs, and then we've got an individual checklist for about 10 different types of jobs that they do, depending on whether they're doing re-roofs, a whole roof replacement, is it the different type of materials that you're working. Invoicing, how do you make that consistent? If you've got cash flow challenges, sometimes it's because you're not invoicing properly enough. I'm not saying that's all the time, but how do you get your team to be able to fill in job sheets, get the right details so the office team can invoice the same day? Hiring, we talked about it. Communication structures. How do we make sure that the team in the office, you know, are aligned with the team out on site? What are you doing from meeting rhythms and agendas? How often are you doing training? Reports, what do you want from your reporting to give you the information to help you make the best business decisions? So where do you start around that? Well, sometimes it's about looking at what is causing you the biggest headaches. What's pissing you off most about your business at the moment, because there's an opportunity to go for it. This is Brooke on the right. This is part of her team, Brooks Bloom. She was our Business of the Year winner in 2020. So she's grown her business from just herself to now over 40 people on her team. So as a primarily garden maintenance business, she takes a lot of pride in how her, you know, the work that she does and how her customers feel after her team has been. So they have a manual for every property that they do maintenance on. So if you're working on 123 Smith Street, it has a manual. It tells you where to park, it tells you where to start, what each aspect of the property needs to look like after you've been, checklists to make sure things are clean and tidy, notes for the homeowner, you name it, it's there. So Brooke has been a real stickler and rigorous around making sure that people do things exactly the way that she would have done things when she was on the tools. She's obviously not on the tools anymore, but she has a great successful business and an amazing team that love being part of what she does. And Brooke says, you know, geez, if anybody can do it, she was you know, in her words, a high school dropout. If she can do it, anybody can do it. So that's just an example of how, yes, you can grow your business with the right processes and systems in place. So what do you prioritize? So I talked about some areas where you can look at your processes or systems, but what do you prioritize? 3 things to think about. Number 1, where are you most involved? If you're wearing multiple hats, which hat do you want to let go of first? Yeah. Or if something happened to you and you had to go out of the business for a week or 2 weeks, what areas of the business would suffer? There's a good point. Secondly, it could be where's the biggest risk? Okay. And a lot of businesses, I'm talking about this company, roofing company today, it's their toolbox talk at the start of a job, making sure that the safe workplace method statements are done, the homeowner is communicated effectively with about safety challenges, everything about managing safety to get everyone home safely every night is super important. And it could be around cash flow. So if you're not getting paid effectively or quickly, what's your process there to make sure your invoices are going out and you're promptly being paid? Or it could be around the whole customer experience, right from when the customer interacts with your brand right to the very end, your follow-up conversations, asking for reviews and testimonials. What does that look like? There's 3 areas that I would look at to start off with. John, 7 Plumbing, one of our clients in Brisbane, he has prioritized a lot of the areas that he was involved with. Quoting, following up on outstanding quotes. The whole sales process was really super important, to the point where they've implemented a flat rate pricing structure so that his team, when they're out on site, can also quote for additional things that they find in the homeowner's home, so they deal in the residential space. But the training and development and the systems that they create around the whole sales process has allowed them to increase their gross profit, increase their average job value, increase customer satisfaction, and allow him to grow his business steadily but profitably at the same time. So checklists are the way to start. If you're thinking about a whole recipe, just start with one list at a time. What do I do first? What do I do second? What do I do third? Don't worry about being perfect. The mantra of writing procedures and systems is progress, not perfection. For some of you, I want you to write that down right now. Progress beats perfection, because you can wait till something's perfect and never implement it, or you can get it started and continue to refine on it as well. Here's a couple of examples. For some of you, you might want to get your camera out and get a screenshot of this. Okay, these are examples of 2 of our clients, the team from Dawson Electric on the left-hand side and 100% Plumbing. They created their customer experience. So they've both got 21 steps. And what they do know is that if there is an unhappy customer, it's because one of these steps has been missed. Isn't that good to know that they can go back and identify what was missed to ensure that that customer doesn't experience that again? All right, so a couple of examples of how we've helped just people bullet point things to start off with. Then you can flush them out. Start general, then you can become more specific. And Dylan and Christine from Dawson Electric, a classic example of Dylan being stuck on the tools, doing everything in the business. Christine coming in to help out in a traditional sort of husband and wife type setup. She was a school teacher. She left her job as a school teacher. They've got 4 kids, came in to help in the office, popped these systems and processes and structures in place now. And Dylan now is off the tools. He's basically team leader. They have 6 other techs on their business, on their team. And Christine's coming on board and doing some work with us now, which is amazing. So again, they always say if we can do it, anybody can do it. So you just got to pace yourself through it. So next, we've got to look at quickly productivity, because a lack of systems means that there will be profit leaks everywhere. I guarantee it. you think about where you know your business is leaking money, and I guarantee if you want to fix that, a recipe or a procedure or a checklist will help. We want to be rigorous with your team productivity, by the way. Again, when you're looking at gross profit within your business, one of the areas that will let you down is when there's a lack of productivity within your business, whether it's out on site or in the office. You want to measure what matters. And what I mean by that is, what is your labor efficiency? If you're paying someone for 38 hours a week, how many of those hours are actually billed to a job? And there you go, you just start that. You can't improve anything that you're not measuring. And, we create a labor productivity checklist. One of the tools that we give our clients is this labor productivity checklist, which is 33 ways that their business can improve productivity and which systems and processes can be put in place to help. An example of what you want to measure in this space, guys, because again, if you're not in your business, you can't see this, but you can get some information. So we talk about labor efficiency, gross profit per project or per van. That'll tell you about how effective and productive your team are. How many errors, how many callbacks, how many fix-ups have you got to go back and take care of? That's costing your business. If you're in the project space, on time, on budget completion, if you've allocated, say, 200 hours for a project, how are you going? Are you tracking, on track, off track? Are your team engaged? Do they know what the game is? How much overtime? If you're doing too much overtime, okay, not only is it detrimental to the health of your team, it also costs your business if it's happening consistently. So there's some key things to consider as well. And productivity leads that are showing up where you can work on systems around your scheduling, accountability, communication between the team and the trains, unclear documentation, unsafe sites, poor logistics and delivery management, excess overtime. So these are some areas, again, you can go to work on, and love to support you in that if you need some guidance. Last couple of points before we wrap up and give you an opportunity to go out and put some things into place, and love to share with you an opportunity we've got for you as well as part of our relationship on this session. But you've got to practice. In this photo here, we've got the Formula One racing team, and I was actually watching some of this on the weekend, the highlights. Here we have is 20 employees or 20 team players doing 4 tyre changes, a refuel, and it's happening within 2 seconds. Now, what happened on the weekend, we had one of the teams, I can't remember at the moment, where they couldn't get the front left wheel off. Now, there could have been a malfunction around all of that, but what that did is it actually cost that team around about 30 seconds. It took them 30 seconds longer to get that wheel off, and that lost them the race. They basically went from 3rd or 4th right down to into the teens. And it's not that the team are inefficient, but they practiced all the time to the point where if you want to get it done in 2 seconds, it just doesn't happen by chance. Yep, so that's what I want you to think about. So practice in advance. Start by taking short period of time off. Start with a day a week off. Start with a Friday off or a Monday off. Go off grid, no phone, no email. Take a few long weekends. Then go to a week. And what you want to do is come back after that long weekend or that one day off a week or that 1 week and look at what worked, what didn't work. Yeah, and then respond to that. Yeah, because every time, here's what I always say, is every time you go on holidays, you improve the value of your business. If, when you come back, you make sure that you respond in the right way to improve things. Shane, one of our clients, does residential high-rise in Brisbane. He has a young son. He wants to spend more time with him as he grows. He loves his surfing on the Gold Coast. His goal when he first started was to be able to be off the tools and to be able to be more flexible, to spend more quality time with his son and also his surfing. I said, keep that goal front of mind, because that's your currency, isn't it? Time. Now, he's financially already successful, but he was almost like a slave to his business. So we assist in putting the right procedures in place that allow him to free up his time to be able to streamline things and get quality work done without him having to be there all the time. Great story. And the last part here is we want to prepare for what ifs. So document all the possible things that could go wrong without you being there. List all the possible solutions, delegate to someone else so they can be in charge while you're not there. You want to set your team up to win. And the last part there is remember what we talked about early on, who's ultimately responsible. You own it, okay? It's your business. If things aren't flowing, if things aren't going the way you want it to do, then you take ownership. That doesn't mean you do it, by the way. That means you own the situation and look at what needs to be put in place to support the outcome you're looking for. Technology is there to help. Voice recording, create video libraries of how-tos to do things. If you've got, one of our clients does bathroom renovations, shower screens. So what he did was he strapped on a GoPro and then went through, and each time he did something different, he would record it, and now they have a training library. So when someone comes on board, they have over 30 videos, and hey, they're not the best quality, but it beats having to repeat and repeat and repeat. So if you record it or film it once, you can watch it forever. There's all sorts of ways that you can make this easy. Tech is a great thing, but tech is not going to replace systems. If you think that, oh, I can't wait till I get the right job management software, then that'll take care of all my systems and procedures, it'll just make it a messy, messy, messy job. You want to make sure you know what procedures you want, have them written, and then use the technology to support you with that, yeah? So some of the areas that you can look at with your customer relationship management, which is CRM, your scheduling, invoicing, customer service, record keeping, all of your communication. And what, we work with a number of different apps ourselves. Some of the job management software like Simpro or Tradeify are great options depending on the size of the business, the type of business you've got. Calendly's great at automating, bookings with potential customers. MailChimp is great at your email marketing. DebtorDaddy's an awesome little automated debt follow-up process that ties into your bookkeeping software. That's just to name a few. But there are options, but they're not going to fix anything that hasn't got a process or a system behind it. It's only going to streamline it as we go. All right, quick check-in. As I've got here, everything is hard until it becomes easy. We've got about 3 or 4 minutes before we sort of wrap up, but here's what I'd love to hear from you guys is now, where to from here? What's your next action step? What's been most valuable in this last little while? And then I've got a special offer for you before we wrap up. What's your key take home? Which area, which processes are you going to go and work on first? Daniel's got down here, the most valuable is progress beats perfection. Again, if you're a perfectionist, a control freak, and you want everything done perfectly, just get some stuff happening. When we do a systems immersion workshop with our clients for a day, we want them to leave with at least 15 procedures that are at least 80% done. I don't want them 100% done because you can fine tune it, but let's just get something. It's almost like, let's get some progress happening, because progress gives you confidence. Going and putting things into place is so important in that space. So what else has come up for you guys? What else has been valuable? Which areas are you going to go to work on? I'm excited to hear what's there for you. Stu's got lead generation, consistency around that lead aspect. One of the things we talk about is local area marketing. Are you putting the flyers out each and every time you're going into the local area? Would be terrific. Again, what's valuable, guys? What's come up there? Tony's put in here, hiring processes for sure. I'm sick of hiring duds. Thanks, Tony. I'm sort of empathizing with you there. Thanks for listening in there. The 21-step customer experience is great, particularly if you continue to use that as a training tool with your team. Now, all of these things there are just examples that can be put in place for yourself. Paul has got in here my invoicing. I'm sick of dealing with cash flow challenges. Simon's got here getting the job sheets completed so the team can invoice on time. Those little things can make a critical difference there. Mark Scott setting up on site procedures for each and every client. Lovely to hear you getting some concepts there. Sandra reads all of the systems with the team's input. Beautiful. An engaged team want to win, so help them win as you go. So one of the things that comes up often is a lot of the times on these sessions, business owners hear what we say, they understand it intellectually, they agree with all the principles, get excited about what's possible, and they know what they should do next, yet they do nothing because life gets in the way, called the whirlwind. Yeah, you're going to head off this session, the end of the day, dings, rings, dings, first thing in the morning, life will go on, and it will spit you out at the end of every day and saying, how was that? I hope you enjoyed the ride. So often that leads to waking up each day with a little lack of clarity. Am I heading in the right direction? Well, I don't really know. I'm just going to put some steps into place. So by being part of this call, one of the things that we'd love to support you with is a complimentary personalized business performance session. So I'll give you an indication of how to opt in for that shortly. But really what this is about is once you say yes, we're going to sit down with one of our team, and our team have more than 15 years experience working with small business owners and teams across Australia and New Zealand. They closely work with business owners each day to understand the roadblocks that prevent them from progressing forward. And we take a no fluff approach. Yeah? We're not here to waste your time. We're not here there to, get some fluffy ideas. We want a candid direction with everything. So we'll have a look at where you are now and where you want to be in the next 12 months. We've got a diagnostic tool that gives us the exact reality of what you're dealing with right now. We'll look at the obstacles that could be holding you back or could hold you back from moving forward, and then we'll give you some specific recommendations, that's a mouthful for me, designed for trade and construction businesses across Australia and New Zealand. So listen, if what I have shared with you today has been of value to you, what I'm going to do now is launch a little questionnaire. And the questionnaire will come up on your screen. It says, would you like that personalized business performance session? If the answer is yes, as I said, one of the team will be in touch with you to be in touch over the next couple of days. If it's a no, I totally get it. If you'd like a bit more information, you're a little bit unsure, then tick unsure as well, and we can be in touch with a little bit more information as well. So as I said, that's your opportunity to get a little bit of clarity, a little bit of confidence, you're heading in the right direction, any support that you may be looking for. And if we can't help you, we'll definitely point you in the right direction. So either click a yes, a no, unsure, more information, and we'd love to support you. By being on this session, you're obviously part of one of our strategic partner companies, so working with them closely will help you, support you in your journey in business as well. All right, just a couple more seconds and I shall close that there. Beautiful. All right. So listen, to wrap things up, thanks for taking your time out tonight. I trust it's been valuable. Again, if just to reinforce for yourself what's been most valuable, please just type it into the box. Keep making a difference to your team, your industry, your clients, and most importantly, waking up every day doing the best you possibly can to create the best version of you and your business each and every day. I look forward to meeting you in person at some stage in the future. Keep being amazing. Thanks for your participation today, and we'll talk to you really soon.